Hi there. My name is Sean Logue. This is my Jing for week 8 of the online XML programming class at Manchester Community College. I believe it's week 8. It's the week right before spring break or whatever week off we have in March. So this week, let's see, look at the assignment. So you wanted us to sort of be on our own and bang out some XSLT. So you linked us to the tutorials point, and you wanted us to basically bring in a sample of XLT code that shows some of our skills, as if you were interviewing us for a job or something like that. So yeah, that's what I did. I don't know if it's quite up to par, quite something that I would desire as my finished project, if in terms of presenting it to a potential employer. But I did do a lot and learn a lot about XML this week, or rather about XSLT. What I did basically, so I have my standard XML document right here. This is still Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. And then I spent a lot of the week, instead of polishing up or looking up the creative and intricate things that I do with, that I could do rather with this poem to sort of impress an employer, most of what I did was just trying to get as many of the samples to work as possible. For instance, the samples from tutorials point, that is, where it would show, for instance, how to do a key or do a message or something like that. As you can see here, I did quite a few different ones: template, message, key. Message didn't work for me for some reason. I couldn't get it to work even on the sample. So in retrospect, what I would probably do is I would probably try to do the whole poem, because as I did last week with XPath, I believe that was last week, I only have the last 6 stanzas, paragraphs, whatever you would call them in a poem. And I would probably, I don't know, I would try to do something different. Maybe I would put some paragraphs in like tables and some not, some formatted, just to show a diversity of skill and some creativity. As it is, what I did is I prepared 3 different XSL documents that basically add a feature each time. So I figured I would show you all 3 of these. If I change this just to the basic Raven that it's referencing for an XSL document, and then I open it, you see this. Last week I did the open template where you created your own and then you could change the font style and color. That's probably more ideal for a poem, but you asked us to deliver something to impress you, at least in theory, and I didn't want to do the same thing I did last week. So I kept it in a table. And this is the first stanza, line 1, line 2, line 3, and so on. So this is sort of just the basic presentation thing in XSL language. And I'll show you that real quick. So there you go. It looks very similar to XPath, if not identical. That's one thing that I'm not certain about, is exactly what the difference is between the two. I get that XPath is meant to help you like navigate or traverse the document, but it has the same output as XSL, as far as I can tell. But anyway, that's the first one. And then if I change this to Raven 02, and then click it, so it looks very similar, but what this is, if I open the XSL document, it'll show it. Sorry. So this is sorting by alphabetical letter, I believe, of line 2. So if you look at line 2, it's B, G, O, S, T, W for the beginning letter. So obviously that might be different. That might be more useful, you could say, if you were dealing with a list of students like the tutorials point examples are. But I still thought it would be a cool addition, and I was glad I got it to work on here. So that's that. And then let's see if I change this to 3 for the last one. We only have the 1, and that's because I will open 3, that way we can see it. Inside sorting so that line 2 is in alphabetical order. I think I said that correctly. I put an if test in there. So if the roll number is 6, what's interesting is that within the actually, I wonder if that does make sense. One moment. Sorry, I'm just figuring something out. Okay, it does make sense. So if the roll number, which is the attribute for the stanza, that's actually a relic from when I sort of adapted the student's sample XML document from tutorials point to the Raven document. That's why it's called roll number. So if that's 6, so in other words, if it stanza 6, then it shows. So obviously the line 2 sorting doesn't really come into play here. But I just want to make sure that I could get this to work. And as you can see here, the last stanza in the poem actually ends with line 5 rather than line 6. Unless I missed something, but I believe that's how it works. Okay, so that's 5 minutes. As I said, I think I would ideally give you something a little more creative and polished, but what I did is I just went through and used the, what would you say, the tools from XSL that I was most proud of getting able to work, and I applied it successively to the same document. So I felt pretty good about that, honestly. So hope this works for the week, for the work this week. And yeah, have a good one. See you in a week or two.